Are you confused with what type of light to buy? Should it be yellow light or white light? Should it be bright? Should it be dim? Should it be something that is hung on the wall? Should it be put on the ceiling? Are you really confused and just don't know where to start? Well, don't worry, this video is really going to help you because I'm going to be talking about from scratch what is exactly light, how you should choose your light, what color of light is perfect for your space, so that if it's like a house that you need to do a lot of work, should it be bright lights, or if it's something that you need an ambient light, and everything to do with lighting that's really going to make your life easier and make your space look absolutely beautiful. So stay tuned to the end of the video till I give you all my secrets about lighting. Hi guys, I'm Tanvi Sikseria, the founder and CEO of Little Miss Designer. If you're here to find about the tips, tricks and hacks and anything to do with interior design, then you're at the right place. Now what exactly is light? Without light you can't see anything around you, it's just dull and boring. It's this light that helps us actually see the things around us, and it's good lighting that actually enhances the space and makes it look nice and beautiful. Now lighting usually is of two types, natural and artificial. Natural light is basically the sunlight or the daylight that comes around us, and artificial lights are the light fixtures that one makes. This can be in a form of track light, chandeliers, hanging light, various types. But it's these right lightings, understanding that and putting it in the right place, that makes all the difference to make your space look really nice. It's the color temperature that really defines a light. For example, if it's a cooler temperature or a warmer temperature, usually this temperature is measured in Kelvin, and the most common used lights usually vary from a 3K, 4K or a 6K, most commonly known as a 3000K, 4000K or a 6000K, which is even more simply known as a daylight, warm light and sunlight. So warm lights are basically lights that help to create an ambience or a mood setting for that space. This is usually used in rooms like your bedrooms, living rooms, etc. Whereas your cool lights are lights which are used more for productive spaces like your offices, kitchens, study rooms. These are actually used more to have some productivity and bright lights going on. The beam angle. Now the beam angle can be narrow or wide, short or long. The beam angle is basically the way the light is distributed from the source of the light point, going all the way to the rest of the space. Now usually if you want to highlight a particular piece, like let's say an artwork, then you're going to use something with a narrow beam angle. Whereas if you want to illuminate the entire space, then you're going to be using a wide beam angle light. Now lights usually come in different sizes, different shapes, different intensities and different colors. Now the most commonly used colors are whites and yellows, which vary based on the temperature. Some people may also use some other light colors such as your blue, green, yellows, etc., which is also followed by the RB whites, similar to when you choose your colors of the space. And the intensity literally is the wattage of the light, which usually starts from a 1 watt going up to almost 30 to 40 watts if you have a much bigger space. And the last is, of course, understanding the shapes of the light. Now the lights can be in circular forms, rectangular forms, flat, and a variety. And the last is the dimensions. The dimension is based on the size of the light. Now the light can be a small circumference, let's say like a 2-inch, or it could be something that is really big, which is going up to like 10 feet. It really depends on the space, how big and small you should actually choose this light, which I'm going to be telling you about a little later. Now when you're selecting lights, you should look at the wattage of the light. So if the wattage is lesser, let's say a 1 watt light, then it is going to be used just to highlight a small specific area. Like let's say it's a small niche in your bathroom or a small little artwork that you want to highlight in the living room. Then you will use a small little light of only 1 watt to 3 wattage. Whereas if you want to highlight a, let's say a grand dining table, then you will go for something that is varying almost up to 15 watts going up to 30 watts depending on the size of the table. Now another play that comes into this is, let's say if you have a long rectangular table, you are going to go for something that is more sleek and linear going along with the length of the dining table. Or let's say if you have a circular dining table, then you'll try to go for something that is more round so that it goes well with the furniture. Which is why it's so important that the lighting and furniture go hand in hand. Because if you have a small dining table and you go for a really big light, or if you have a very big dining table and you go for a very small light, it's proportionately going to look really off. So it's very important to understand which light goes with which furniture piece, and they both complement each other really well. Now, before I tell you about a small little tip which is very small but very important when you choose your light fixtures, let me tell you about something that's very important, is about the layers of lighting. Now, I'm sure you've heard of layers when it comes to doing like different items, but have you heard of layers when it comes to lighting? It's really interesting because usually when people buy lights, they think that they'll buy one type of light and use it all over the space. Well, that's not gonna help. You need to layer each part of different lights, making sure that they blend well together. Now, how that works is to understand three types of lighting. The first type of lighting is known as your task lighting. The second type of lighting is known as your accent lighting. And the third type of lighting is known as your ambient lighting. Now, while keeping the concept of layering, the best way to lighten up your space is to use a perfect combination of white lights and yellow lights. I personally feel you should not use only white lights, or you should not only use yellow lights. Now, divide this into three lighting styles: the task light, the accent light, and the ambient light. According to me, the task light should be extremely bright and nice and lit, which is a 6K light, 6000K light, or a white light, because this really helps to get a lot of focus and productivity in doing that particular task, whether it is reading a book or selecting clothes from the wardrobe. Divide this into three lightings. Now, this should be something that is really bright, but let's say you're not a fan of white lights, then you can also use a 4K light, which is basically a mix of yellow light and white light. So it's not too yellow at the same time, not too white, and really helps to choose that color. Now, usually in kitchens and bathrooms, we usually use a lot of white light, because what happens is that the white light really helps to actually see the things around you. Like, let's say if you're studying, you can actually read the books and the words in the books very clearly. So this is why task lighting is very important. Now, task lights are usually functional lights, so they really help to get that productivity on, as I mentioned. So these lights include your spotlights, your panel lights, any of the main lights that are going to help you focus on that particular activity. Just two accent lighting. Now, this lighting is really cool because it helps to actually highlight a particular item. So let's say if you have a beautiful artwork in the living room, you can have a beautiful wall lamp coming in from the wall, highlighting that particular light. Now, usually the beam angle of this is slightly narrow so that it can focus on that particular piece itself. So these are really game changers because they really add a bit of drama, effect, and a little mood feeling to the space. And three, last but not the least, these are your ambient lights. The ambient light is just perfect to set the mood. This lighting is used more in the 3K range or even the 4K range. I personally feel the 3K, 3000 or an extreme yellow light is perfect to create that ambience, because let's say if you're sitting in the room and you don't want very bright lights, you just want that one light on, you can just put on this one light and sit and relax and feel cozy about, like, let's say if you're just reading a book or if you're watching some TV, you don't want very bright lights coming onto your face. So ambient lighting is a complete mood changer. It really makes the space look very cozy. So best combination would be to use your task lights to do particular lights, accent lights to highlight specific things, and mood lighting, which is known as your ambient lighting, to create that mood. A combination of all three is the right type of lighting that you need for your space. Whether it's white, yellow, or mixture of both is just perfect. Yes, remember that one tip which I told you I'll tell you right at the end. So that tip is that when you're buying your lights, of course it can be a variety of shapes and styles, but if it is concealed going in your ceiling, avoid very sharp edged lights like a rectangle or a square. Instead, go for a right concealed panel, because just in case the alignment between your wall and your ceiling is not a 90 degrees, it will not be so visible and it will still look really cool. Because if you have a square and a rectangle light and the angle is not perfectly 90 degrees, one will feel that it is crooked and one can immediately tell that something is off. So this is a quick tip that you should consider if you want to make your space look nice, even if something else is going wrong out there. Well, of course, lights are very easy to buy online, but I always recommend to personally go to the market and touch and feel all the lights so that you can choose which one really works for you. But let's say if you don't have the time and you actually do buy it online, let's say through Amazon or some other website, then maybe you should just buy one or two, try it out, see if it's working for you, and only then invest in buying some more. So if you found this video helpful and you want to find about similar tips and tricks about lighting, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and of course hit that notification bell.